Mhm, 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 mhm. Mhm, 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 mhm. Nobody. Nobody in the chat. Nobody in the chat. Mm. What is with all these people? They are just horrible. Mhm. Well, well, well. Does anybody want to talk about this mess? Nobody in the live. YouTube is very hard to get a live going. It's interesting. I'm just doing a little live here on YouTube about the storm that's approaching. I think it's pretty interesting that the snow accumulation, the storm is so big, and on my house, seen a lot of planes flying in the air, looking like they were seeding the clouds. They say it's water vapor, but you don't normally see that over here by me. But it was pretty interesting to see all these planes around here right before the storm, because when they geoengineer or they cloud seed, they usually do it right before the storm. So when the storm rolls in, they can't really create a storm. They can move a storm, change its direction, and intensify the storm. And this storm is moving because it started out way far south and it's been pushing up to the north, which I think is interesting. And the accumulation was supposed to be 5 to 8 inches, and now I'm probably going to hit like 20 inches over here, close to 20 inches over here. And then just looking at the sky and seeing all these planes looking almost like it's water vapor coming out. But I don't know. That looks like geoengineering or cloud seeding to me. You don't see that over here by me. When the planes fly, you don't see anything behind them. So I think it's pretty interesting how all of a sudden, right before this storm, there's all that activity in the air. So we'll see. Are they slowing the storm? Are they speeding up the storm? Or adding to the totals? So we'll see. We'll see where we end up. I just think it's pretty interesting. Right before this storm, you see all these planes in the sky. That's extremely interesting to me. And just trying to get some people in the live to see if you're in the path of the storm and to see exactly how you're preparing. Yeah, Made sure I got myself all prepared. Got some milk, got some things I need, secured the house a little bit. I've been redid my porch. So I basically had to brace it a little better because I have an overhang there, like a roof, but I only put a couple of braces in there, 4x4s. They were temporary. Next week, like these nice uh, pillars or whatever. But I put extra up there because of the weight of the snow. I did not expect because the past 3 years we've had barely any real major storms. We had about 7 inches, 5 inches, 10 inches, but nothing like this. So I rebraced the roof. I just wanted to see, what are you people up to in the middle of this crazy storm? And are you looking towards the sky? What do you see? Let's see if we could find something. We'll leave this up. Planes. Planes in sky. For snowstorm. Let's see if that works. No, that didn't work. Let's see. I think it's very interesting that all these planes are in the sky, and it seems like they're definitely doing something right before the storm rolls in. Let me see if we bring up chemtrails. Chemtrails. Let's see. No, we don't have no information on it. Has anybody seen any activity, new activity right before the storm in the sky? It's interesting to me that it was by my house. Let's see if we can look it up on YouTube. What do we got on YouTube? Let's bring up YouTube. New tab. Let's bring up another window of YouTube here. Let's see if we can look it up on YouTube. See if anybody's been putting any kind of videos out there. Let's see. We got winter storm. We got a lot of news. Nothing. Nobody's seeing planes in the sky, huh? I'm just wondering if anybody's in the path of the storm. I've seen a lot of planes in the sky lately. People just bob in and out of the live. Live is very difficult because everybody wants some kind of spectacular scene in the lives. Nope, nothing. Got nothing. Nobody reporting any videos. I have to check the videos on YouTube. But one thing I was interested in is by my house. There's a lot of activity in the air. It looks like planes seeding something right before the storm. So I'm going to see what my snow totals are over here. But I think it's pretty interesting that there's a lot of planes in the area and a lot of activity in the sky. I was hoping to get some people in the live to see if we can chit chat to see how it is by you. I'm over here in Pennsylvania, so I was kind of looking forward to seeing people in different states. I mean, it's just going to be a monster storm, but it's interesting how fast it's moving quicker up north when it was supposed to stay further south. And when it comes to geoengineering and cloud seeding, they can intensify a storm and they can move a storm. They can't really create storms, but they can intensify them and move them. I was interested to see how many other people are in the path of the storm, if they can keep an eye on the skies and tell me, is there a lot more plane activity, a lot more, what shall we call moisture coming out of the back of planes, you know? That was pretty interesting to me. Just the fact the activity in the sky, because you don't see that uh, usually behind planes over here. Water vapor. You will see water vapor sometimes, but very rarely. It just didn't look like water vapor to me. It looked very, very intense streams coming out of the back of the planes today. And since we get the storm rolling in here, and the storm is shifting so far up north, you know, in geoengineering or cloud seeding, they could either intensify the storm or they can shift the storm. They can't really create a storm, but they could definitely intensify it. And I was supposed to get about 5 to 8 inches. Now we're going to get close to 20 inches. And I just wanted to see if anybody else is in the path of the storm and see if, look to the sky, see if you're getting a lot of extra plane activity in the sky. Because I know for sure I've been getting extra plane activity over here. I'll look tomorrow too. Today was pretty interesting because I'm sitting there looking at my kitchen window and I just see multiple planes flying by doing it. And you don't normally see that over here. So I'm pretty interesting to see what other people are saying. Are you preparing for the storm? How you preparing for the storm? I think that's curious to me. Usually you don't see a storm shift so fast from so far south to so far north. That's another curious thing to me. It had a certain path, and shifting that dramatically up north was interesting to me. And the shifting into the snow totals was very interesting to me. It seems like an unnatural event to me. To me, maybe you'd have a slight shift, but the dramatic shift, the dramatic increase in snow is what's interesting to me. I think that they were probably trying to shift the storm, intensify the storm, maybe, but definitely trying to shift the storm away from the south. But I'm only going to know if I can get some people, put some videos up, look to the sky. Is there more activity in your sky right before this storm? That's a curious thing to me. That's what I want to know. I'd like to know how much activity do you guys have in your sky lately with water vapor coming out of the back? I got locked out of TikTok earlier when I was talking about this, which is very interesting. Everybody knows geoengineering is real, cloud sitting is real. They do it. It's not going to be the government that does it, but it will be the tech companies and stuff like that. I mean, Bill Gates blotting out the sun. These people blotting out the sun without anybody's permission, without consulting anybody. I mean, just imagine a person consults nobody. They all get together and say, "We're just going to do it." That's almost like putting something in my body without my permission. You understand? So if you're gonna try and alter humanity's weather, you should really consult everybody first. There should be a vote on it. So I think that's interesting. To me, with them putting aluminum in the sky, I think it's extremely dangerous because the sun really could turn Earth into a microwave. And if the wrong solar flare goes off, all that aluminum in the sky is just going to set the sky on fire. So I think that's interesting to me. Why? I mean, you don't put aluminum in the microwave. Why would you put it in our sky? So I think that's pretty interesting that they would use aluminum of all things. We'll see what the outcome of that is, but I think when you're going to shift people's climate, the whole world should really be involved in that decision. And I think the way that people are talking about AI is interesting. AI is not a savior. So anybody thinking AI is a savior is just a clown. AI is a tool. It's supposed to parallel humanity. It's supposed to better humanity, but it's not a savior of humanity. I think that's interesting. I was watching him speak at a WEF, and boy, they're smart people. Some of them are really dumb. So that was interesting to me, you know. And solar power is really not the answer to anything. And the reason I'm going to tell you that is there was in history where we had 18 months of no sun. They don't talk about it much. But if you're going solar and all of a sudden you have no sun for 18 months, it's a catastrophe. That's why I would never go solar. Second, the electric vehicles, they're pretty much useless in the cold. And I can tell you because anytime you use any kind of battery in there, those kind of batteries, lithium batteries, and all these batteries, they just decharge themselves instantly. And that means your phone, I got the Meta glasses, cannot stand up in cold. Literally, you could charge it 100%, go out there in the cold, one recording, and it's dead. So putting out an electric car with these kind of batteries was just a ridiculous idea. Because if the temperature drops too far, your car is just not gonna hold the charge. You'll come out, your car will be dead. So, I think that's interesting that that's what they came up with, these electric cars. I mean, where they think they were driving? In a desert? So, I'd love to know the tolerance on these. I'm gonna look into the tolerance of these batteries. And if they knew ahead of time that these batteries were just not gonna hold up in the cold, charging stations, I mean, what are you gonna do when it's intense cold? They're gonna be useless. So who comes up with that? Who came up with that game plan? Who came up with that strategy? Was it an accident or on purpose? Is what I'm curious about. Because there's about 0.000% chance that those batteries don't just, if it's intense cold, that they just don't charge down and you're gonna have a car that's not movable. You have a paperweight. But I'm gonna do some research into it because I think it's interesting to me. I didn't realize how bad these batteries were until I got a new phone and I got the Meta glasses, the Facebook glasses. And in the summer, I had no problem with the battery. But I was recording with my phone and the battery, it was really like an intense cold day, a lot of wind. And the phone just decharged so quick. I mean, the phone usually will hold the charge for a long time, but within 10 to 15 minutes, it was dropping so rapidly, the battery power. And I think it was the cold. And the Meta glasses during the summer, I never had to worry about them. I could use them for about 2.5 hours, no problem. But in the cold, one recording, not even 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes, dead. Battery is dead. So I want to know, excuse me, if they knew the tolerance level on these batteries and still put them out there anyway. Because I've seen multiple reports when it really gets cold, how the cars just die. The battery just dies. People stuck on the road, people can't move their cars, the electric cars. And if that is that dangerous, since a good portion of the United States lives in the cold, why would you put it out there? So I'm going to do some research on the batteries and what their tolerance levels are. Because if that's that bad, that battery, and you still put it out to the population, that's detrimental to the population. So we'll see. But I know something. My new phone, my old phone, the cold did not affect it, didn't affect the battery. But my new phone is definitely affected by the cold, the battery. So I might have to get some kind of a phone warmer. Go figure. That's just so silly, but the battery definitely doesn't hold a charge when it's in intense cold. And pretty much the Meta glasses. Look, I was not impressed with the Meta glasses. The record time, you only get to record a certain amount of minutes. Uh, pretty much, you can get good pictures from it, and you can get good video. At night, it doesn't really work that good. But the fact that you cannot use it in the cold, those Meta glasses, is that's interesting. You're gonna have to figure out something better for those batteries, so that way you could use it in the cold. What's the point to having glasses that only work in warm weather, you know? But it is interesting because no matter how I charge it 100%, it just decharges instantly in the cold. There's just no the battery just not does not hold life. So with this storm approaching, with all you people with your electric cars, I wanna that would be an interesting thing to see, with all this ice in the cold, how the electric cars hold up. It'd be interesting. But it is interesting that they would put these batteries out, and what would be the tolerance levels? That's what I'm looking for. I have to do some research on that. Can't get nobody in these lives on YouTube. It's very hard to get somebody in a live on YouTube. I got to do better preparation on these lives. Maybe it's the time. People looking for something exciting. I think that's interesting. Maybe we'll do a live YouTube on and get the information on the batteries to see what was the tolerance level of their cold, from the coldest it could go to the hottest it can go to without affecting these batteries that they have in these electric cars. That'd be interesting to figure out. But my focus is really on this storm, the way it shifted drastically up north, the way the snow totals changed drastically, and the fact that a bunch of planes are flying over my house with their, little trails that go behind them, the little moisture. I think that's interesting. So we'll see if this storm intensifies even more, you know? I think that's interesting. I'm going to end the live on that. Look to the sky, people. Let me know if you got a lot of planes by where you